Hello, this is Pastor Banning, and thank you for joining us for the 22nd episode in our series, Side Notes, Thoughts from a Pastor's Study. And today, I want to bring you a thought on the sources of strife. I'm going to read you in a moment a verse from Luke chapter 22, and this verse is very powerful when you understand the context. Jesus has just revealed to his disciples that he's going to be betrayed by one of them. He's revealing to them through this passage in this area in the scripture that he's getting ready to be offered up. These things are happening. It's very serious, sober time. They'll be going to Gethsemane here very shortly. And he is revealing to them that he's going to be betrayed by one of them. And right as he does that, right after he gives them that news, startling news to them, this verse is written. It says in Luke 22, verse 24, "And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest." Think of that. Jesus has just revealed what he did to them and turns around and they begin, after they ask him who it is that will betray him, then they turn right around and get into an argument, into strife over which of them shall be accounted the greatest. And in this you see sources of strife. My wife and I just in the last couple of days were in Pennsylvania. While we were there, we went to a preaching conference and then also met with a pastor friend of ours and did several things. But we did take a little time. We went to a place called Ohio Pile, and that's a neat place, has bicycling, kayaking, whitewater rafting, hiking, that sort of thing. And there's a river there. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. That will end in disaster. It's spelled Youghiogheny. And it feeds into the Monongahela River. I think the other one's pronounced Youghiogheny, I think. And then it goes into the Monongahela River, which then goes into the Ohio River. Now, they call it the Yog or whatever the locals do there near that river. It seemed to be the way they said it. But that river, which I spelled out to you, that river is a decent-sized river in and of its own accord with some beautiful whitewater on it and such. And the Monongahela River is a large river, but then it goes into the Ohio River, of course, then which goes into the Mississippi River, which goes into the Gulf of Mexico. These are tributaries, each one building in size, each one getting larger as it goes. And in this verse, we see strife, its source and how it grows. And the source of strife is obviously pride. They wanted to know which would be accounted the greatest among them. And that source of pride swells and gets larger, even as those rivers keep getting, you go to larger rivers, each tributary goes in. But the strife, it swells into strife, and I believe the key of the thing is this phrase that says, which of them should be accounted the greatest. That's a matter of reputation and standing among others. Their question was not which of them could do the most for the Lord, which of them could be greatest in their service, which of them could do the greatest good, which of them could show the greatest love. No. Their question was which would be accounted greatest. And so what their thought was what would people think of them? What position would they have? What title would they have? What standing would they have? That is a large tributary going into strife. And the turbulent waters of strife are fed continually by people seeking position and seeking what people will think of them instead of seeking how they can serve and what they can do for others. Thought on this verse, and actually read this verse while I was in the hotel room down in Pennsylvania, and then seeing these rivers, how they ran together and flowed together, reminded me that a spring, a source, a headwater, if you will, of strife lives in me. And I have to be careful, like you do, and walk circumspectly. We need to, each of us, so that we can truly desire to be useful and we can truly desire to be greatly used of God, whether or not it's ever known. Because what's accounted by men is not important. What we do for God is. May God help us to live according to this truth, and I hope you have a great day.